Today I am here with Jerod Runde. He is with Great Lakes Mortgage Financial, and he wants to kind of explain for me, because he knows better than I do, the process of pre-approval, what it means and how it helps. Jerod, take it away.
Well, what I wanted to really discuss, a lot of places we have the difference between pre-qualifying and pre-approvals. Huge difference between the two, and one is a basic outline and one is a more thorough investigation into your financial situation to get you pre-approved. Pre-qualifying is you have the basic outline based on the information you provide verbally to a banker. I guess in a lot of situations, do you have anybody that has any, what are their major questions when you refer them to get a pre-approval before being able to put in an offer?
People always want to know, first and foremost, are they going to pull my credit?
Okay.
After that, they say, well, I'm looking at this house, I don't know if I can afford it. Mm-hmm. And immediately we say, well, that's why we have to have it pre-approved.
Wonderful.
So
to answer that, in a pre-approval and a pre-qualification, both situations are going to require us to pull your credit. The biggest thing when it comes to a mortgage, unlike other financing, maybe like a car or going to Best Buy to get a credit card, anybody on the actual mortgage loan itself has to credit qualify. They have to meet whatever the type of mortgage they're looking to acquire, basic outline for what credit qualification should be. So if we're talking FHA, conventional, VA, USDA, you have to meet the basic credit qualifications on any of those mortgages for pre-qualification or for a pre-approval before we can go any further. So if you have one person who has great credit and one person who has not so great credit that wouldn't credit qualify, when you go to buy a car, you go to buy a boat, in most cases the stronger applicant will cover up the less capable applicant. In this situation, that wouldn't be allowed. Mortgages, both buyers have to credit qualify. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull credit. That's the most important thing. It doesn't only just show how how qualified you are as a buyer. It also helps dictate what you're going to acquire as far as an interest rate on each particular loan option that we may present to you.
And so then where do we separate from a pre-qualification to a pre-approval? At what point are we doing, what's different other than the name?
Right.
You said there's some qualifiers. What's different?
Absolutely, and that's a good question. So to answer that, the pre-qualification would be very simple. If you were to call me up and go, hey, listen, I want to see if I could potentially buy this house. We could run your credit report. I could acquire verbally from you how much money you make, how much money you have in the bank, and another couple qualifying factors that I might need based on whatever that house might be. We're going to ask those questions, and if those questions line up with what I need to get you pre-qualified on that particular property or for that particular price range, you be pre-qualified. What a pre-approval is, we're going to take the time to acquire your W-2s, your last pay stubs, your bank statements, your ID, to make sure that you are who you are, that you do make the money that you say you make, both by W-2 and pay stub. And we're also going to verify that you do have funds available to put down on the actual house in which you're looking to buy. That's the biggest difference between a pre-qual. One is investigated, one is not. Now, a pre-qualification and a pre-approval are both not enough information for us to give you a full approval on a loan, and that's just the basis for a start of the mortgage process. And I would never ever do a pre-qualification myself. I would only go with a pre-approval.
And Jerod, you're right. From a realtor's perspective, when we list a home, we personally always put in the comments, send either proof of funds if they were going to do a cash offer or a pre-approval, and then the next comment is pre-qualifications will not be accepted. Now we know that there are some types of lenders that for some reason they just refuse to use the word pre-approval. So then we have to follow up with them and ask them, well, what was your pre-qualification process? So it is normally verbiage, but sometimes there's a couple of people out there that for some reason they're doing a full pre-approval and they won't call it that. But yeah, you're right in the sense of the importance between the two different things. We just can't go off of a pre-qualification. We can't get into the process and wait and see what might happen or might not happen.
Well, for you, the listing agent, that's a very smart thing to do because, I mean, you know, to get a little bit more into the details, you know, we could talk on the phone and you could give me, you know, for this matter, let's say you tell me you make $60,000 a year and you have 700 credit. When we actually pull your credit, you may be a 680 credit. Believe it or not, on a lot of programs, even though it looks very close to a 700, it could be a 694. It could be 6 points off. On some qualifying factors, that's a big difference. The other thing is income. Income is derived several different ways, whether you're salary, whether you're annual. Sometimes I get people all the time that tell me their salary, but when you break it down, their salary, but they have an hourly, they have an hourly tag to that salary. So that may change the way that the underwrite works out, especially if we're using bonus income or if we're using overtime income. It could really make things a little bit more in depth for the mortgage banker. Knowing that information walking in will protect you, the buyer, from anything that could potentially come up throughout the loan process that will keep you from buying that house. We're going to investigate that right away.
Awesome. Well, that's exactly what we look for as realtors, and when we represent a buyer, we require them to have that type of information done so we know that we're showing the right houses. When we represent a seller, we require that their buyer has that type of information done. Jerod, if anybody wants to get in touch with you for pre-approval and they haven't talked to me first, how can they get a hold of you?
My best number here at Great Lakes Mortgage Financial is always my cell phone, 734-231-8914. Or you can reach me at JEROD at G as in George, L as in Larry, M as in Mike, F as in Frank.com. That's abbreviated for Great Lakes Mortgage Financial.com. And if you reach out to me on either two of those sources, that's going to get to me every time, one of the two.
Awesome. Thanks, Jerod. Thanks for helping us out, and we look forward to getting you some more pre-approval work done for us.
Wonderful.